Hi everyone! I decided to make a quick video about my favorite top 10 pictures which I consider the most beautiful and the most inspiring in all my coloring books. Pictures which I hadn't colored yet, but of course which I will color one day. Pictures which I selected as the most beautiful for me. They are also touching something in my soul. They are inspiring, they are challenging, so I will be happy to share my list with you. And the first one is Picture by Levi Pinhold. Here, number one is the whole book because here we have the huge composition which represent medieval town. Why I included this picture in my top 10 list? First of all, because I love everything connected to medieval theme. And here Levi Pinfold depicted so many interesting characters, so many intricate details. In each element we can see genuine medieval costumes, some interesting scenes between people. Uh, Picture is very detailed, so you can look at it and each time you can find something new. Sometimes it's slightly humorous, sometimes it's really very interesting in historical sense. We can see people from different social circles, we can see animals, we can see interactions between people, and of course many very detailed architectural details. And I really love composition of this picture. We have some characters on the forefront, we have quite intense middle part of the picture, and on the background we have some slightly depicted mountains and other buildings, so very nicely composed picture. And for me it's one of the pictures which you can enjoy even if just looking at it, looking at all details, it's not necessary to color it. Next picture in my list is by Adele Lauren. Unfortunately, when I learned about existence of Coloring Heaven magazine, very interesting issue by Adele Lauren, which was called Woodland Fantasy Special, was already sold out. But fortunately, I have several of her beautiful images inside of the annual issue of the year, and as a favorite, I selected this one. First of all, I love composition of this picture. I love this circle behind, which slightly reminds me about compositions on Alphonse Mucha portraits, but also it has some Celtic ornaments, which is also very interesting for me. I love clean lines of the portrait, very beautifully depicted. And I love that it has some fantasy spirit because she's an elven lady. And of course, Adele Lorien is a great artist for drawing nature, everything. Uh, Birds, animals, botanical elements. Adele Lorien is a great artist and she combined all those elements in all her paintings very skillfully. It's a pity that I have only several of her pictures, but at least I have them. The same thing happened with this design by Angela Sasser. I wasn't able to purchase issue of Art Nouveau Angels, but I have several of her pictures here, and this one is my favorite. I love this vertical panel composition. It's quite unusual for coloring books, so it's interesting to color. I love her face, hair, so she is beautiful by herself. And I love botanical details. Daffodils are one of my favorite flowers, so I love all pictures where I can find them. Somehow this picture by its style reminds me about pre-Raphaelite paintings. And I must confess that I noticed not from the first sight, but only lately, this interesting detail in the lower part of the picture. In the upper part, she is beautiful young girl, but in the bottom part, as a reflection, we can see a skeleton. Very interesting and very challenging. As I said, I not immediately noticed it, and it's interesting detail, very intricate. I love all Angela Sasser designs, and I am glad that I have this annual issue of Coloring Haven where were included 3 or 4 of her pictures, and lucky people who were able to purchase the whole issue. But we are going to my next favorite page. It was quite difficult to select one from the Floribunda, but in the end I selected this one. I love peonies and I love this quite unusual vertical composition. Usually in this book we have circles or we have uh, round composition, but I love this vertical one, very dynamic. I also love that here we have clearly some flowers on the forefront, which are depicted only with their shapes. Then we have some flowers which are slightly behind, and she used darker gray colors to depict them. And we have some silhouettes, some shapes of the leaves on the background, and I think that it already gives some depth to this flower composition, and it's very helpful even before we start to color it. First, I was tempted to select as my favorite picture with dahlias because they are my favorite flowers, or with roses because she has beautiful variety of them, but then I decided to select that vertical with peonies. But we are going to the next book, and here I selected this adventure picture. I don't know why, but I feel that like we are soulmates with this girl. She really touched something in my soul. I also love adventures. I love to travel, and I think that she is not as simple as we can assume from the first sight. She has this sweet backpack with a dark pendant. She has her sketchbook and various pens, but in the same time she has those skulls. So I think that she is quite a badass girl, and she definitely has some adventurous spirit. I think that she is quite strong and beautiful in the same time, so maybe that's why I selected this picture among all the beautiful portraits which I have in the Aryan book. Next selected picture from my top favorite list is also by Nick Filbert, but this one is from Serena. It was a hard choice, but in the end I decided that the best one is this portrait. I love her connection of her delicacy, of her gracefulness, and in the same time she has some inner strength. I don't know how to express it, but it's what I feel when I look at this picture, and it's what I will be trying to show when I will be coloring this picture. I have many other favorite pictures from this book, but if I needed to limit my list to only top 10 most beautiful and most inspiring pictures which I yet have to color, I decided to select this one. Next favorite picture will be from Briar. And again, I selected picture not only because of their skills of the artist, not only because of the beauty of the image, but also because the theme of the image is very interesting and inspiring for me. I love northern mythology, and here we have this beautiful Viking lady. I think that here composition is very interesting. We have those dragons, we have this lady, we have slight hint to the landscape, to the sea on the background, this beautiful Viking board. So I love composition, I love artist style. Again, I love many pictures from this book, but I decided to select this one as the most inspiring for me. And I noticed only now that all pictures which I selected, they are all very detailed and they have a background with many details, so we definitely don't need to add something by ourselves, and that's exactly the style of pictures which I prefer. Next work will be from The Day We Finally Met, Korean book. But here it's not exactly one picture, but more like a series of two pictures because they are united. On the first picture, we can see that this very cute pair started to grow daffodils, and the second picture shows us a result of their work. And I think that it's a very cute idea to have this sequence to show the early stages of spring and then spring in the full bloom. I also love pictures in this book because they have a very interesting division between something, usually botanical elements on the forefront, then the main picture in the central part, and then we have something on the background, so you can definitely can see which is closer for us, which is the main scene of the picture, and also background with some elements. I love this, and this style really adds depth to the whole picture. And I also love all botanical elements. They are drawn with such details and with such love. I hope that I will be able to work over my coloredness, and I will color both the spring pictures during one of the spring months this year. And final picture, or again series of pictures, yes, I cheated again, will be from Will and Son. First, I wanted to select this huge spread because here we have so many cute details. I especially love the turtle. But I also love this spread because it has knight and castles. I'm a huge romantic, so if you have a book with castles or dragons or knights, I will immediately fall in love with it. I love that both pictures are framed by those arches, they are united in this way, and those arches, they are very detailed, especially on the left side we have dragons, maybe they are architectural elements or maybe they are alive. I haven't decided yet. And there are all the best details, elements of the Tomislav Tomic art style. Attention to details, beautiful clothes, interesting elements of the armory, fantasy flowers, fantasy animals. So everything why we love Tomislav Tomic, and I consider this spread as one of his best works. I hope that my top list was interesting and fun to listen. I already made video about my favorite colored finished pictures, and now when I decided for myself which ones I want to color, I hope that until the end of the year I will be able to move them from the list of favorite uncolored to the list of favorite finished pictures. I will be happy to hear about your favorite pictures among your coloring book collection, and I thank you for watching. Happy coloring time!